Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital. Kristina chooses Shadybrook, shuts down Ava Blackmail, and Kristina could make a huge decision to pay for her crime against Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, and Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst, when she was aiming at Ava Jerome. It's Belinda from Soak Dirt, and we're going to talk about how and why Kristina may actually commit herself to Shadybrook to stop Ava's blackmail. General Hospital spoilers. Molly's discovery and its aftermath. So, just randomly, Diane Miller, Carolyn Hennessy, seems to have forgotten that Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos, and Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, have the same last name. So, she wrote Davis on the envelope that put the commitment papers inside, and then of course she dropped it. Molly now has the commitment papers that Diane drew up for Alexis to have Kristina committed against her will. Alexis, you remember, changed her mind. She refused to do it and she told Diane to shred the legal papers, but she didn't. So Marco saw them and now Molly's got them in her hand. And she's obviously going to see Diane, the lawyer that drew them up. General Hospital spoilers. Molly is horrified. But that Alexis is the one involuntarily committing her sister and that Kristina is the one who's supposed to be locked up at Shadybrook. And of course, Molly is going to be horrified because this makes zero sense to her. She's going to fill in Cody Bell, Josh Kelly, who is there when she finds the papers. And then Molly is going to run off to try and find out what is happening and why Kristina is being targeted like this. And I'm sure initially that she's going to be in protective mode, like something's being done to her sister. Little does she know. May sweeps drama. Molly confronts Kristina with shocking news. And so there's a few things that we think are going to happen with this twisted storyline as we get into the meat of May sweeps next week. First, looks like Molly takes the papers and runs straight to Kristina because Molly's probably thinking she has the right to know and she wants to protect her. General Hospital spoilers for the end of this week promise that Kristina gets a shock. We see her looking at a document wondering, what the hell? And of course, she and Molly are both going to be wondering what the hell. Why would Alexis have Kristina involuntarily committed? But you'd think that Molly's sister would have a little bit of an idea. Kristina might have an inkling. Oh, wonder if Mom knows. Alexis's blackmail secret. Protecting Kristina from prison. So next, Molly and Kristina are going to contact either Diane or Alexis or both because both their names are on this bizarre document Molly found that makes no sense to her. And if they confront Alexis, I'm guessing she's going to want to talk to Kristina privately. Not only is Alexis trying to protect Kristina from prison, but trying to protect Molly from being furious at her sister. And that's still back to protecting Kristina though. I do expect Alexis will tell Kristina she's being blackmailed by Ava, who has proof that she cut the brake lines on Rick's car, thinking it was her car. And this is a really big deal because Alexis just told Kristina, you got to drop your grudge against Ava. But hearing this should only make that grudge worse. General Hospital spoilers. A perfect plan. Right from there, Alexis will probably explain that committing her was part of a legal strategy that she and Diane were discussing to keep her out of prison if Ava decided to turn her into the cops. Because if you remember, initially Alexis refused to pay the blackmail. And then Diane was like, all right, well then let's commit her and then we'll shut Ava down and hopefully avoid her, going to Pentonville. Kristina's dilemma. Shadybrook or prison. So, you can bet that Kristina is going to be outraged that Alexis has bought Ava's silence. And even worse, she's embezzling to do it. Basically, Kristina's criminal mess has now made Alexis criminal as well. So, in the end, not only does Kristina want to avoid prison, obviously, but doesn't want Ava to get the money that she needs so desperately. And of course, Alexis also is going to be dealing with a threat from Ava demanding more money at the end of this week. She wants more and she wants it sooner. So, by the time Molly talks to Alexis, I imagine her mom's already going to be the end of her rope with Ava. Diane may get involved and explain to Kristina the whole legal strategy and why Shadybrook is the best answer to keep her out of prison for nearly killing Rick and Elizabeth and probably a third charge for attempt on Ava because that was the intent. So Kristina may agree to be committed and before criminal charges can be filed. Legal stalemate. Ava's blackmail versus Alexis embezzlement. Ava and Alexis are kind of at a legal stalemate just by the way on what they can do to each other. So, it is absolutely illegal for Ava to blackmail Alexis. So, Ava's doing a crime. And if Alexis was paying the blackmail with her own money, that'd be legal. It's perfectly legal to pay blackmail. The problem is Alexis is stealing from Ace Cassidy's, Jay and Joey Clay, trust fund to do it. So, Alexis is also in legal deep dawdle. And that means Ava really can't press charges cause Alexis may go, alright, we're just going to both go down for this. So, you know, Ava can't go to the cops because now she's doing an illegal thing. General Hospital spoilers. Ava draws a line? But Rick can, especially if Alexis cuts off the money train or tries to screw him over. And I'm sure Kristina and Diane are going to insist Alexis stops paying her. And in the end, Ava is probably going to get away with the blackmail. She generally gets away with most of her crimes. But she would still lose the chance at future payouts, which is a punishment in itself because she is so gosh darn broke. Plus, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, may lash out at Ava if Kristina and Alexis tell him about the blackmail. But let's be real, even if Sonny comes at Ava, I expect her to clap back that his maniac daughter tried to kill her. And she wouldn't be wrong about that. Kristina's three choices. A soap opera showdown. So, in the end, Kristina has three choices. Number 1. Let Alexis continue to pay that blackmail money to Ava. Number 2. Confess to the cops and just face however many years in prison that she gets cause she did the crime. Or number 3. Get checked into Shadybrook while Diane works her legal killer Miller magic, you know. And all of this coming out means also, of course, Molly is going to find out Kristina tried to kill Ava and almost killed Rick instead. Family fallout. Who reveals Kristina's dark secret? Big question. Very important. Who tells Molly the awful truth? The best thing is for Kristina to do it and beg forgiveness because if Molly hears it from her or Alexis, you know, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing. But if Molly mentions to Rick that her mom drew up papers to commit Kristina, you know, Rick may realize, okay, the blackmail jig is up and he's just going to tell Molly the truth and get out in front of it. Kristina nearly once again spinning on the edge of chaos. And this time, it's Kristina Corinthos Davis at the center of the storm. What started as a heartfelt effort to help her family has spiraled into a crisis of conscience. One that leads Kristina to make the shocking decision to admit herself to Shadybrook. But her moment of vulnerability quickly turns into a weapon when she learns that Ava Jerome has been pulling strings behind the scenes. And when Kristina finds out the full extent of Ava's blackmail scheme, she doesn't cower, she strikes back. Kristina's guilt boils over. Kristina's world has been unraveling ever since the fallout from Sonny's latest violent outburst. Though she's tried to convince herself that her father's actions were justified, a deep guilt has taken root. Between the tension with her sisters, the judgment from Molly, and the quiet concern from Alexis, Kristina's been feeling cornered. Adding to the pressure, her recent confrontation with Ava left her shaken. Ava made sure Kristina knew that she had leverage. Knowledge of a dark Corinthos secret that could destroy Sonny's fragile freedom and Kristina's peace of mind. At first, Kristina tried to ignore it, pretending Ava's threats were empty. But when she saw Ava whispering to someone outside the Metro court, panic set in. Ava had that glint in her eye. The same one she had before every ruthless move she's ever made. The result? Kristina began spiraling, struggling to sleep, plagued by visions of her father in handcuffs. Her family splintered once again. A breakdown no one saw coming. After days of hiding behind smiles and small talk, Kristina finally snapped. During a heated conversation with Sam at the Corinthos coffee warehouse, Kristina broke down in tears. Everything's spinning, Sam, she confessed. It's like, every choice I make hurts someone. If I tell the truth, I destroy Dad. If I stay quiet, I'm just as bad as him. Sam, alarmed, urged Kristina to slow down and get help. But before Kristina could calm herself, Ava appeared, uninvited, ready to twist the knife. Poor Kristina, Ava said sweetly. Carrying all that guilt must be exhausting. Maybe if you told the truth, you'd finally sleep again. Sam's protective instincts kicked in immediately, telling Ava to back off. But Ava only smirked, adding, the Corinthos family always did eat their own. Maybe I should help move things along. That was the final straw. Kristina's hands shook as she shouted at Ava to stay out of her life. And when Sam pulled her into a hug, Kristina whispered something that shocked her sister to the core. I think I need to go to Shadybrook before I lose myself completely. Sonny's shock and Alexis's support. When Alexis heard about Kristina's choice, her first instinct was heartbreak, but quickly, that gave way to pride. She visited Kristina before the intake at Shadybrook, assuring her daughter that seeking help wasn't weakness. Sweetheart, Alexa said gently, taking Kristina's trembling hands. This doesn't make you broken. It makes you brave. You're doing what so many of us never did when we needed it most. Meanwhile, Sonny reacted in typical Sonny fashion. Anger first, fear second. He stormed into the hospital demanding answers, questioning if Ava or anyone else pushed Kristina into this. Somebody did this to her, Sonny growled. I'll find out who. Carly, surprisingly, was the one who calmed him down. She reminded Sonny that Kristina's decision might be the healthiest thing she's ever done. You can't fix her the way you fix a deal, Sonny, she said softly. She's got to fix herself this time. Sonny reluctantly agreed, but deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that Ava was behind Kristina's breaking point. Ava's smug victory. Until it isn't. For Ava, everything seemed to be falling into place. She destabilized the Corinthos family without even lifting a finger. At least, that's what she told herself. When Nina confronted her at the gallery, Ava brushed her off with a cool smirk. I didn't make Kristina go off the rails, she said. She was halfway there on her own. But Ava underestimated Kristina's strength, and what time away in Shadybrook could do for her clarity. Kristina fights back. After 2 weeks at Shadybrook, Kristina began finding her voice again. Therapy sessions help her see how often she let guilt control her. More importantly, she realized she wasn't powerless. Ava had been manipulating her, but that could stop the moment Kristina took control of the narrative. In a tense therapy scene, Kristina's determination shines through. I've let people define me my whole life, she tells her counselor. But I'm done being the weak link. I'm done being someone's pawn. That realization sparks her comeback. The showdown at the gallery. Freshly discharged and steadier than she's been in months, Kristina visits Ava at the Jerome Gallery. Ava, sipping wine, greets her with fake warmth. Darling, I heard you were taking a little retreat. I hope it helped, Ava purrs. Kristina's gaze is cool, sharp. It did. It helped me see that you've been blackmailing my family and preying on me when I was vulnerable. Ava's mask falters for just a moment before she recovers. Blackmail? That's a strong word. Kristina steps closer. You threatened to expose Dad's secret to protect yourself. You made me feel like I had to choose between loyalty and sanity. But here's the thing, Ava. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Before Ava can respond, Kristina pulls out her phone, a recording of Ava's earlier threats that she made the night of her breakdown. I don't want to ruin you, Kristina says calmly. But if you ever come near my family again, this goes to the PCPD and every news outlet in Port Charles. For once, Ava is speechless. She tries to bluff, but the fury in Kristina's voice silences her. You think you know how to play the game, Kristina adds. But you forgot one rule. The Corinthos women always rise. Ripple effects across Port Charles. News of Kristina's return spreads fast. Sam and Alexis breathe a sigh of relief, proud of how she handled Ava. Sonny, though, is conflicted. Part of him wants to thank his daughter, while another part wants to finish what she started and destroy Ava once and for all. Meanwhile, Ava is left scrambling. Her reputation is hanging by a thread, and she knows Kristina's recording could ruin her for good. She considers turning the tables, maybe going after Sonny again, or worse, reaching out to Jason for protection. But the real surprise comes when Nina corners Ava later that night. You've gone too far, Nina says coldly. You wanted to destroy Sonny, but you almost destroyed Kristina instead. I can't be part of this anymore. It's the beginning of the end for Ava, and the rebirth of Kristina Corinthos Davis. A stronger Kristina emerges. By week's end, Kristina stands outside Charlie's pub, watching the sunset over Port Charles. She's bruised but not broken. The shadows of her past, the doubts, the guilt, the pressure of being a Corinthos, no longer define her.